Hello, Crystal Palace, and welcome to Upper Norwood Library Hub's Library Lunch. My name's Galina.Rin. I have been standing in for Eleanor, who was away, but she's back, and she'll be hosting tomorrow and Thursday. Yay! But in the meantime, still got me, and that's okay too. I can see that Sarah, I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, and Bianca has joined us. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us. If you have any comments or questions for today's guest, then you can drop them here in the comments. I'm just writing that in the comments for you. You know what it's like when I present. I have to do 4,000 things all at the same time. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to that. Today we have Jodie Marshall. I got that right. Oh, I thought I was going to get that totally wrong. From A Mind Apart, who's actually a Sheffield-based charity, but she's come to us through a collective project that was called The Power to Change, which we were interviewed for because we do all this wonderful technical shenanigans, and she saw us being interviewed on that show. So welcome, Jodie. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you. Yes, had a good bank holiday and I'm back at work.
I don't even remember what bank holidays are like. Every day feels the same. Every day is the
Yeah, I
same.
used to be like that and then I got a lot stricter with myself, so I'm a lot better these days.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
good.
I know the feeling.
So tell the lovely folks in Crystal Palace what it is you do and all about your charities.
Yes, so I run a social enterprise called A Mind Apart, and we are a performing arts organisation. And we work with, our goal is to make performing arts accessible to everybody. So we train young people, some of them go off to drama schools, but also we just use it as a tool to develop confidence, self-esteem, confidence building, uh, and work with young people not in education. We also deliver evening class and after school clubs. And at the moment, we've got loads of online stuff, which is open to everybody. Online classes that we're delivering at a really reasonable cost in order to really make it accessible to you. So we got some Arts Council funding for that as well. So that's that. And then I also work for a organisation called Sheffield Social Enterprise Network. And I'm the network coordinator for those guys. And basically, I look after social enterprises in the region. Some of that includes liaising with social enterprises across the UK, working with the social enterprise called Social Enterprise UK, which is like the members board across the UK. And doing lots of other things social enterprise orientated. So yeah, that's who I am and what I do.
Amazing. Amazing. So, you said there you got some Arts Council funding. We obviously
Yeah.
got the same thing. Was it the emergency fund that you guys
It
applied for?
was, yeah. So we got covered with that until October. And then actually we've managed to pick up more funding from the Youth Endowment Fund. So that was a Home Office fund that went out for people working with young people that are involved in criminal activity, exploitation, which obviously is a big cohort for us. So that's a big group of young people that we work with our education provision. So they've actually funded us until July next year. So we have got some amazing breathing space, which is really rare right now. So we're feeling very privileged, and I'm very aware that we're one of the few. So we're covered until July to keep running some online stuff, some drama therapy online, as well as bringing back some face to face from next week.
So how was your funding created before lockdown then?
So we were very much income driven as a social enterprise. So we never had more than 20% of income that was fundraised. And we usually use that income to pilot projects, to maybe do something that very specific based on what our beneficiaries had told us they wanted. And yeah, so that's kind of how we've always run it. And that's partly because I think that as a model in the creative sector, I don't think the charity model works as well as it could do. And I think actually there are other models that creative organisations like us can really benefit from. And from that, we've been going 13, 14 years. So we're completely sustainable with it up until COVID,
Yeah.
when obviously, we're all face to face. So it all went and we had to rethink things quite quickly. So within a week, we were online, doing stuff online. So yeah, so that's kind of how it worked before. So we took the decision for the recovery, in order for us to recover properly, we took the decision that we would look for funding to cover us for the next 12 months. And I made that decision quite quickly with my board. So obviously we've done that and we're secure for 12 months. And it now means that, we're not kind of trying to get other bits of funds so other organisations can go for those funds that we might have otherwise gone for. Have not really pushed it too much. I've just made sure my staff are secure, the rent's secure, and then from that we'll kind of, slowly, so we don't have to make any rush decisions.
Well, that is cool that you've got that breathing space. All of our money was mostly made from parties, hiring out our spaces to parties and things. So I'm not high enough up the food chain to know the ins and outs of what goes on at our library. I'm literally the technical person. I just do all the technicals. But I do know that we have had to fundraise through our shows and stuff like that to try and keep some of that going. But we have, we've got some funding, but I think it's just our director, Margaret, applies to everything. She is the Arts Council application machine. I'm sure it's not all Arts Council, it's everything. And she knows everybody as well. And that's what you need, really, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think you do get to a point where you know what's out there, you know everything, you're talking to the funders constantly. And I think if you can do that and you do that successfully, I think generally speaking, you'll get through it. I think it's those organisations, from the work I'm doing with social enterprises in the region, it seems that organisations that haven't got the time and the capacity to look for the funds, so maybe they're responding because they've needed to respond really quickly, but then those same managers that need to look for the funding haven't got the time to look for the funding or put the funding applications in. So that's a lot of what I'm doing with them, is running monthly webinars around what's out there, what funds are out there, which actually are open to anybody across the UK, because a lot of the stuff it's not region specific. Some of it is, but not all of it. So I'm very much, that's the other bonus, that I'm very much on top of it because it's part of my other job.
No, being multi-skilled at these times are very, very, it's necessary. It's totally necessary. Yeah. I'm just going to say hello to Tam and Marty, who has joined us. If you have any questions or comments about this subject for Jodie, please drop them in the comments and we shall pick them up in whatever social media channel you currently find yourself being on. Amazing. So you said that you had you had your online content out within a week. We went on our first. We were just a week ahead of you. We started on the day of lockdown, with all sorts of with our singing classes, I think. So how did you engage your community in those very early weeks of the lockdown? I'm personally very keen to know this information.
Yeah, so we we were in a position where normally we ask our parents to pay fees termly. So we were in a position where the Easter we were going into the summer term, so the Easter term was coming to an end. Is that right? March, April. So we were about to ask for new fees. So when we closed a week before we actually closed a bit earlier than when the government announced it, like a week and a half. But we closed a week before our Easter holidays, if that makes sense. Yeah. So we'd got a week left of all of our provision. So what we did was we pulled it all, and I'd already sent all of our schools that we work with for after school clubs and the local authority that we have contracts with. I'd already sent them our contingency plan for it. So I was on it like weeks before it happened. So I knew that we were going to have to go online and we were going to have to find a way around it. So then what I did was I got my teachers to do videos. So they went home and they recorded videos of what would have been their final sessions with those students. So instead of giving refunds, what we said was, you will get access to loads of resources for that session, and you'll get an hour's worth of resources plus all these videos that include warm-ups, the activities, and there's stuff you can do at home. So that's what we did for that last week and a half, really. And that meant that I didn't have to give loads of refunds back. And because those parents had held off signing up, because we were all going, oh, what's happening? Yeah. I didn't really give many refunds back. I think I gave like £200-300 back, which, when they're paying altogether our fees for that period of like 1,000 plus, then that's a bonus. So that just meant that it did mean I wasn't getting that money in, but it also meant that I didn't have to stress about it, and I could go, right, okay, what can we do to keep the money coming in? stressing about sending all that money back and organising it all. So that's what we did, and we used those sessions to trial stuff. So then we asked for the parents' feedback, and some parents, we said, look, we're going to do some online stuff. If you want to sign up to these classes, this is how it's going to look. We're looking for feedback. And some parents said, yes, I'm still working, I want to support you. So they signed up, and their kids never attended, or they attended 1 or 2, but they signed up, for a few weeks. So parents have just been massively supportive with it for those that could support us. But we've also been very conscious that we've got young people that haven't got access to the internet, and haven't got access to laptops. So that's been a real kind of thing for us. Actually, how do we engage with those guys when we know that they're probably not accessing it, or parents have probably lost jobs? So what we're doing next week is we're bringing some of our face-to-face stuff back. So we're working on students of classes of 3, and we've been quite selective on who we've invited to those classes, and basically engaged with us during the last 6 months online. We're aware you've probably not had access to online stuff. We want to invite you to face-to-face, so you've got a mind apart connection, really. And that's how we've had to work it during this period. But yeah, it's all been trial and error. But also it's meant that we've been pushed to do something that I've been talking about for the last 2-3 years. For the last 2-3 years, I've been going, we need to do stuff online. We need to get good at this online business. This is where the money is. It's not where the money is right now, but it might be one day for us. But, it's just meant we've got really good at it. So we ran an arts festival last week that was funded by the Hilden charity, actually, which are a London-based charity. And they were going to fund some holiday club stuff for us. And I just said, look, actually, we're not doing it. This is what we're going to do instead. Would you fund this? So we paid 10 artists during the week from various places in the UK. We just put a call out, and we paid them to run an online session for us. And we had a massive social media festival, which is also accessible on our social media, 2 sessions a day. And they ran different sessions for us, and it was brilliant. And we got to support artists while really making performing arts accessible to everyone.
That is cool. So did you have various tiers? I'm interested on the stuff that you had tickets, and some parents were supporting you. Did you have tiers for parents who couldn't support? I mean, was there a free?
We looked at that, and I did set up a Patreon page right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
With tiers, and it just didn't take. It kind of felt like this just isn't something that our customers want or get or connect with. Actually, what they connect with is us, and that's kind of always been our selling point, and word of mouth and things like that. So we did look at it, and I was really keen to look at that, but then my staff were just like, it's not going to work, Jodie. This is, the feedback they were giving me with, being the people that were talking to the customers, they were just saying it's not going to work. We don't think that they'll take it. This is not who our customers are. What we need is more personalized, kind of a more personalized way of doing it. So then we started to look at the social media. So we did a free live every week, which we still do every Friday, on the social media. And then the classes, so lots of people have been doing streaming of classes so that you can't see those people that you're teaching, but we actually use the video element of the class as well. So we do it on Meetup or Hangouts, and we can see what the kids are doing in the video screen, basically, and teach them that way. And we've experimented with doing a play, and how to do a play on screen, and monologues, and and I think my staff have been massively challenged with it, but they've just raised, they've lifted themselves in that challenge and done an amazing job.
Yeah. So for my own interest, so you've got teachers and your students, and are Zoom or Google Meetups, and then you're live streaming part of that. Is that right?
No, so we don't live stream those classes. So those are paid for classes, and they have been pay as you go. So during this period, we've done pay as you go because we've just been aware, which we never do with anything, but we've just been aware that parents have probably not had the money. And also they might lose their jobs at any point.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to tie anybody into anything. So they've been pay as you go. They sign up each week, and then they get a link, like a Zoom meeting. They get a link, and then they join that meeting. So that's not live. But then on top of that, because we've also know that we've got a whole bunch of kids whose parents couldn't afford, even at £5, couldn't afford that, then we've been doing regular 20 to 30-minute Facebook live sessions on a Friday. And then the festival as well was free for everybody. So we've had kind of the core paid element, but then we've looked at ways, actually, how can we do the free stuff? And the other thing that we managed to do is we secured other bits of funding to do some wellbeing sessions. So we've been also offering drama therapy online for free. So we work with therapists. We have associate therapists that we work with. And they've been delivering drama therapy online. And we've done 4 to 6 sessions for free. And then if they want to continue, they would pay for them. But we've also been working that on a case-by-case basis as well. So once we knew we'd got the funding secure, we were able to say, well, actually, if there's a kid that's massively in need and we know they can't afford it, we will offer them more. And, you know, we felt that was the most ethical way of doing it and the most accessible way of doing it, whilst also making sure that we were having something coming into the bank that, you know, was actual paid income, really.
Yeah.
So we could pay wages. So yeah, so that's, and again, I reckon every 4 to 6 weeks we've been changing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's been going, oh, let's change it to this. So we're working on half-term basis because we feel that a term is a bit too much. So we're going back face-to-face, but actually that'll be reviewed in October when we get to half-term, because it might be that we're back in lockdown in our area, or, you know, that too many kids are getting ill, or the bubbles aren't working.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at with it, really.
I think when I was saying about different tiers, I don't, you know, I've kind of meant, you know, is there paid classes, but then is there free stuff, which you've been doing. The fact that you went to Patreon is really interesting, because I, like, having been from a band background, it's difficult to get band people into Patreon, never mind folks that just aren't into the arts to start with. I mean, so that is interesting, and it's definitely something that I've thought about for the library, is also like going into Patreon and going into Twitch and having the library stuff on Twitch. And the reason we don't put this on Twitch originally is because it's just not the market for it. You know, our audience wouldn't go to Twitch, and I don't think Twitch audience who are 18 to 24-year-olds, mostly American, would really care enough to want to see this. So I thought it was, so we just didn't do that. But we did experiment with going on Instagram at the same time as everything else, and that didn't work out just because the formatting's so different, so it gets added to Instagram after the fact. But
yeah, and we tend to do that as well with the live stuff. What we have done before is we've had the teachers have, you know, the computer up streaming it to Facebook and YouTube, and then another phone or another computer streaming it to Instagram at the same time. So we did that for a little bit, and then and we sometimes still do that depending who's doing the class. It depends on the teacher, really. But yeah, I'd agree. Instagram, it's not as simple as being able to live stream through programs on Instagram. So we do tend to use the TV element of Instagram. But for us, it's been a really important marketing for us, because that's where all the young people are at.
On Instagram.
Yeah, so what we're finding is parents are on Facebook, which is probably right, because that's my generation, you know. It started when I was at uni, so it is my generation of people. So parents are on Facebook, but then actually young people are on probably TikTok, Instagram, and then Twitter. It's a hit and miss with Twitter, I think. It's such a different range of people on Twitter. It tends to be celebrities and, you know, companies and things like that.
Yeah,
so Twitter's been great for the wellbeing stuff, because we've been able to tweet different organisations into it who have then referred and things like that, and schools and things like that. But yeah, for the parents, it's Facebook.
Yeah, so
that's what we've found.
We've definitely found that Twitter is more for connecting with the council, or, you know, local charities and things like that, and having those conversations between organizations. And I think that's basically where our Twitter is. And then we're kind of still exploring Instagram, because I've just put so much time into Facebook and building the Facebook up, that we've now got a social media manager who is Twitter and Instagram based. And so that's just starting to ramp up for us. But we're finding parents on Instagram. We're having real trouble connecting with children and young people and on all of our social media. And we're hoping that by bringing local artists onto our streams, that will help equalize that a little bit, but it has been a pretty hard struggle
Mm,
for
I
all of it.
think, yeah, I think about the young people we work with, they are very much, they probably have Facebook Messenger because they message, but they're probably not, if they're on Facebook, it's kind of under a pseudonym usually, or they're kind of, I don't know, that it's a very specific type of Facebook that you kind of go, okay, I've got to be aware of safeguarding on this if we're, so we get them to add our page. My staff aren't allowed to add them to Facebook and things like that, which is difficult because then that means you can't contact them. So you can only contact them if they contact you first. But then we find that a lot of them are on TikTok. So this was one of the things that I looked at and said at the beginning, maybe we've got to get on TikTok. We haven't done. I don't think my staff are happy about going on it, but it's a question because that is where they all are. And it's it's like when Snapchat came out, it was the same. They were all on Snapchat. It's anything where you can send it and then it disappears. Like they seem obsessed with that stuff. But from an adult point of view, I kind of look at it and go, I don't want to be on that. I don't know where that data's just gone. I want to be able to see the data still. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really difficult one, and it changes every week. Like I know I'm starting to get old because I'm behind with it all, and I go into work and go, "You're on what?"
Yeah. Well, let me answer that question for you. Don't do anything with TikTok because it's very likely it's going to get banned. It's already banned in China and India, and America is about to ban it because of their just bad security and what they do with the detail in the background, and everything's getting banned. You'll have noticed that Instagram has suddenly come out with Reels, which have you seen this? So that is the TikTok of Instagram, and it's come out just as America talked about banning it. So get your staff to learn Reels and forget about TikTok because it's
great.
Gonna be
we'll
dead
do that
soon.
Then. Fab.
Yeah.
Good.
Same with that thing, House Party, which was like the early like you can have 7 people come around to your house and like it's like Zoom Party before Zoom was doing a party, but then that got that got really dark very quickly as well on the old internet. So that's another app that if it ever comes up, just don't join that either.
Yeah.
It's just got bad juju along with those things.
There's just so much, isn't there? I think we have had so we've been really lucky that we got an intern from one of the local universities for July. And she was free for the whole of July. The university paid for her. It was a thing that they were doing for businesses. So if you're running an organisation, that's one of my pieces of advice to people, to go to your universities in your area and find out actually what, do they have intern programs and things like that? Because often universities will pay for you to have people working for you. So we had a girl and she was amazing, and she wasn't Sheffield based, completely working remotely for us, and she's been doing all of our social media marketing for the last 2 months, and she was so good that I kind of paid for her to stay for August and was like, please, we need you for August. I'll pay you. This is what I'll pay you. Like, because she was going to go freelance anyway. So she got paid, and, she got a job for August with us. And I would have kept her longer, but she then has got a full-time job in a school. But she's basically done it all. And having that age group do it was actually just the key, I think, because I think she just revamped everything up. And to the point that I do the social media for the Sheffield Social Enterprise Network. And I was looking at what she was putting out for Amanda Part and going, oh yeah, I need to do that for Sen, and I need to do that for the other social media I'm monitoring. So I was nicking her ideas because, what she was putting up was just, it was good and it was vibrant and way better than any of us could do it. So I think that for me, that was key as well, because I've been talking a lot about we need to get somebody to do it that's specifically for it. And we'd just never done it. And this was the opportunity that allowed us to do that, and actually meant that it really vamped up our online stuff and helped with it. And she was amazing.
That's so cool. We've just taken on Kate, who's a social media manager, and she's just so keen to learn everything new that's going on. And so I keep on going into the socials and just copying what she's been doing and putting it on my band side. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start to do this as well. This is so good. It's so good. Hi, Kate. You're so awesome. We love you. So we were going to talk about we've just had a really good time having a chat here, and we're almost out of time. But you were going to tell us a little bit. You did mention when we were chatting before about this third. What is it? What do we say? Third sector.
Third sector.
Now this is a term I've heard twice this week, and I'm sure our folks out in internet land, if they've heard it, have no idea what it means. So do you want to just talk about what you do there?
Yeah, so the third sector is like the you described it quite well actually after I'd explained it. So it's kind of the in-between area. So it's kind of the voluntary sector, which usually covers charities and unassociated organisations. But the third sector also includes cooperatives, social enterprises, and any organisation that's effectively not for profit. So, I mean, a social enterprise should be for profit, but it's what you do with your profits. So that's what we mean when we say not for profit. It means that it's not going into somebody's pocket and making them richer. So for those organisations that are either charities, not for profit, social enterprises, cooperatives, unassociated, that's what it covers, really. So it's a wide range. Fair shares, it covers fair shares, it covers community shares, anything like that that's all about your beneficiaries having a voice and being part of I would argue that the library probably comes under that if it's not owned by the council.
Yeah, we're not council owned, but we are a charity.
So there you go. So you'd sit in it. You'd sit in the third sector. So that's what it covers. So Power to Change, which is where I saw you guys, a lot of the work that they're doing is within that remit, within the third sector remit, within social enterprise. And there's the thing with social enterprise is there's so many different models that the third sector just helps to bring it all under one roof. So you're not having to argue about your model. So KICS, community interest companies, their third sector as well. That's what it covers.
And do you do consultancy work in that field?
Yes, so I do. Yes, so I work with. I've got a master's in social enterprise and cooperative management. So I consult with social enterprises and cooperatives effectively. But at the moment, I'm working for Sheffield Social Enterprise Network, which takes up a lot of my hours. And supporting social enterprises in the region. That's with consultancy, it's with funding advice and support, and networking, and just basically being the go-to people in the region for social enterprises. So that's a big part of the work that I do up here, up north. But I worked for a charity in London called Initiatives of Change. I worked for them for 3 years as a consultant. They gave me the title network coordinator, but effectively I was a consultant for their network. So I've worked all over the place, doing different things. I run a charity myself as well for an organisation in Brazil. I've got kind of experience in all areas.
How do you have time for anything else in your life?
I don't know. I was doing a podcast earlier a couple of days ago and they said the same thing to me and I was like, I just do me. This is me and this is what it looks like.
That's pretty amazing. Well, thank you, Jodie, for joining us. I have stuck in all of your many websites are in the comments, and we'll be sharing this across Instagram and all the rest. I'm sure Kate will be able to link in all your Instagrams and whatnots into all of there. Amazing. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll just end off by going over the little bits of things that we need to talk about today. So we are looking for some more folks to join us next week. We have been quite effective in getting guests and such on the show recently. So if you'd like to join us, please email me. I'm just putting the email in the chat box. Don't message the page because you'll just be told to email. There's no point in messaging the page. And there's also no point in phoning the library because we're not working out of the library right now. The library is open on a Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. You do need, though, to contact Lambeth Libraries to make an appointment. You can leave your books back. You can collect books, but there is no browsing. There is barely any internet computer usage. There are 2 computers available, but you have to book it ahead of time. And there's no public toilet at the library. So please do not ask because refusals may be bad. Just go to the local pub. They'll have to help you, to be honest. What else have we got for you? So we did our show on Sunday. Finding Wonderworld? No, that's wrong. Finding Wonderland was a show that we did on Sunday. You can watch it back And you can also still donate to the library's general donation link, as you can see on the screen. We've raised over £1,000 now. Actually, with Gifted, that's probably going to be closer to 1,500 by now. And you can watch the show back. You can watch all those lovely West End musical people singing princess songs. I can't say the big D word because we'll get done. But they're princess songs from things like, what do we call it? Under the Sea, from Little Mermaid and all that kind of stuff. You can watch it back, and if you like it, just drop us some money into the pot, and it all goes to keeping the lights on and the doors open at the library. Amazing. Well, that's all from me today and our friend Jodie up in Sheffield. Hooray!
Thank you.
And we shall be back tomorrow. Eleanor is going to be hosting, and once again, I have to write this stuff down. I've completely forgot who we're interviewing tomorrow. I know, it's gone. It's gone. But Eleanor will be back with us tomorrow. All right, guys. I will see you all another day. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.